I want to welcome everybody to Iowa Postgame with Hawkeye great Kachine Alexander. This should be one of those shows that, let's put our caller on hold. Caller, we're going to put you on hold. Hang tight. Before we get to our callers today, I want to thank Brad Van Meter and his team down at State Farm in Des Moines. Give Brad a call at 515-635-1601, 515-635-1601. If you are interested in a quote on insurance, let's get rid of that annoying caller that continues to not listen to the directives. All right. Give Brad a call, 515-256-6480, 515-256-6480. Also want to thank Iowa Smokehouse. Tasting is believing with their awesome jerky products, their meat sticks, their steak bites. Everything is tasty. Check all the selection out over at iowasmokehouse.com and use the code Hawkeyes for 15% off your order. Use the code Hawkeyes for 15% off your total order. That being said, want to welcome none other than Kachine Alexander, Hawkeye great Kachine Alexander. And Kachine, I said at the very beginning of the game today, I tweeted out, or I think I sent it to you directly. I said, the only thing this game is missing is you. We all wish you could have been. We all wish you could have been there in Carver. I know there were a lot of big names in Carver tonight, and what a day! And we're gonna spend the better part of the next hour recapping things. Iowa with a 93-83 victory over Ohio State on Senior Day. Just give me your initial thoughts on the victory, Kachine, and we can talk about how they got there.
You know, I think that we, as an entire team, I think rallied around each other. Obviously, like we always say, Caitlin is going to Caitlin. But Gabby Marshall used today. Kylie Feuerbach was amazing on defense, and everybody else stepped up. Kate kind of took on her own towards the end. So overall, I think it was an amazing team win. Definitely a great win to forward us into the Big Ten tournament.
And this is an Ohio State team, of course, that Iowa fell to here just recently, and a really good Ohio State team. This is a team that came into this game ranked second in the country between Sheldon and McMahon. They're big inside, whose last name I'm not going to announce, made a number of big threes in this game. But I thought Iowa's defense, this is the one big takeaway I had right as soon as the game ended. I thought Iowa's defense was as good as it's been all year for most of this game. Kachine, am I overreacting from being there in person, or would you agree with that?
No, I agree. I think that they locked into whatever the game plan was. You could definitely tell that they were a lot more physical. They took to heart, I don't know if everybody remembers, but Caitlin Clark said that she felt like they got bullied in the first game, and you can definitely tell that was an emphasis in this game. We forced them out of the paint, and I think that was key for us, and we boxed out well. We kept them majority of it to a one shot and done, and I think that's what helped us. They didn't get a lot of offensive rebounds because that's what got Cody McMahon going the first time.
All right. Couple things here before we get to anybody who wants to talk to Kachine, ask her a question. This is, of course, was senior day, so that is the reason for the slight delay. I was there in Carver, and we had the senior day ceremony after the game. Very emotional for a number of people, including Sharon Goodman, Kate Martin, Gabby Marshall, Caitlin Clark, but also Molly Davis. Molly took a scary fall, was down on the court for several minutes, was eventually carried off, could put no weight on, looked like, I want to say, was it lower right leg, Kachine? Ended up coming back in a wheelchair with it wrapped for the post game. So, but anyways, very emotional day. It was just great to see a real team victory. I mean, we had a hard time. You and I had a conversation before going live here about who's the player of the game. Of course, Caitlin does what Caitlin does, scoring a lot of points and stuffing the stat sheet, but pretty balanced effort. The one thing, Coach Patterson, I talked to Don right after the game. He said to me, "Hey, Callie Feuerbach was phenomenal today," and I would echo that defensively. She really made an impact in that third quarter. Gabby Marshall hit 4 threes. Caitlin Clark did what she does. Kate Martin added 9 rebounds to go along with her 11 points. And I thought Molly Davis was playing fine until she got hurt, unfortunately. And Sydney Afalter totaled 7 rebounds. Just a nice balanced effort.
100%. Kylie was huge. I mean, her defensive intensity in that third quarter is what kind of lifted us, because Ohio State was trying to come back. And she just got her hands on. I felt like she was everywhere in that moment. And Hannah was big down low. I mean, she was battling even on the offensive glass. She was tough on the block. She was just kind of bringing us all around, great minutes. And Kate, I know probably all her 11 points ain't come in the fourth quarter, but that's how I feel. Because it was like we ain't find her for like the first 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden it was like, there she is. So, I mean, overall, great team win. Gabby, it seems like I don't know what she's done or how you can replicate this the same time last year, and now she's doing it all over again. I don't know. But I'm glad she's on that train. That's all I got to say.
Where do you feel about this team now with the regular season complete, all the records, the individual records that people have been waiting for Caitlin to break, officially broken? She passes Pete Maravich for all-time points scored in Division I history. In fact, she is our player of the game, our RTI Threads player of the game, as she totals 35 points, so easily surpassing Pistol Pete. But now that some of maybe distractions are behind them, they've got 2 more games. Assuming they win game 1, they'll get 2 more games at Carver. How do you feel about them heading up to Minneapolis for the Big Ten and then, of course, the NCAAs?
I mean, I feel good right now. After a great team win, almost putting up 100 on Ohio State. So I feel good right now. I would like to see our route in the Big Ten tournament. It's something that I'm curious when that comes out, what that looks like for us. NCAA tournament is still all about matchups for me. That's just going to be what it is. I will say, as unfortunate as it is, that Molly Davis went down, and I'm pretty sure she's out for the season. With that being said, it forces Lisa Bluter to be bigger, right? Except for Kylie, right? But now you could play a Kate Martin and, Sydney Falter at the same time. We're a little bit bigger in that aspect. And so it does give us a little bit of an advantage in that sense. Kylie's been playing well, so I'm all for that. And then you can give Taylor McCabe some spot minutes here to use her shooting ability. I think today was probably not the best time to put in Taylor. I think the moment was a little too big for her. She just seemed not confident in herself, which is fine. I expect that. She hasn't played a lot of minutes. She hasn't played in these kind of games. But nonetheless, doesn't mean that she can't give us quality minutes, spot minutes when we need them. But overall, I mean, you know what I say, matchup. So we'll see. I'm excited to see where, how things unfold.
I'll give the Buckeyes credit for this. I thought early in that first quarter, as good as Ohio State is, Iowa was rolling. And I believe, I don't have let me pull up the first quarter numbers. But for the first quarter, Iowa finished with 28 points. I was thinking maybe they hit the 30-point mark, but 28 in the first quarter. I was thinking for a while, Kachine, that they may run away with this thing at home. And I give Ohio State a lot of credit for stifling Iowa a bit more as the game went on, although Iowa finishing with 93. What did you see early on that made the offense look so easy for Iowa?
Well, we were running. That's always key for us. And we were moving the ball. It's the same thing that I felt like in our last game. When we move the ball and everybody's a part of the offense, we're very hard to guard because you can't just key in on Caitlin Clark because she's moving. She's setting screens. They're coming off screens. They're setting more screens for her. When our offense is more fluid like that, we're really hard to guard. The beginning of the second half, you saw stagnance. Everybody was stagnant. Like nobody was moving. We were all staring at each other trying to figure out who should do what. That's when our offense gets stuck. So if we can continue moving and continue being fluid, that's when we're hardest to guard. And obviously hitting shots. That doesn't hurt either.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this just came in on the newswire that award-winning NFL journalist Chris Mortensen has passed away at the age of 72. Mort was a longtime ESPN guy, and so thoughts and prayers with him and his family. That just broke here moments ago. So anyways, hate to bring that down on everybody, but just wanted to follow that through. And as it relates to Ohio State, I thought Cody McMahon early. I don't know what it was early. I don't know how did Iowa match up with her differently, or did they do anything different on her early? Because she really hurt them in the second half in Columbus.
Two-part. One, I didn't think that Ohio State did a great job of finding her. And on top of that, on the reverse side of things, when they didn't find her, we made sure to keep her off the offensive glass. So if we were able to keep her off the offensive glass and they weren't finding her on the offense, she was kind of a non-factor. Now, she did miss a couple easy bunnies, I will say that. But overall, we were forcing her into taking outside shots. And she fell for it. She was taking threes, mid-range. The first game, she didn't take any of those. She kept driving right at us. It was like a bully, bulldozing us over. And for whatever reason, I don't know, she decided she wanted to shoot today. So it's a two-part. I think that we stuck to the game plan and she fell into the game plan. Does that make sense? And so I think the biggest key with that is keeping her off of the offensive glass. Because if we could keep her off the offensive glass and then force her into mid-range, we're golden.
Let's run through some stats here. We mentioned Caitlin Clark's numbers, and she ended up with 35, 9, and 5, along with 3 steals. Did have 5 turnovers, which is pretty much par for the course when she's handling the ball as much as she handles it. Gabby Marshall, her 4 threes made. Kate Martin had 11 and 9. Hannah Stalky, very efficient. I even asked Coach Patterson after the game. I said, Coach, did it feel like Hannah scored 23? Because it didn't to me as I was sitting there in the arena. But again, that's what you want to see at Hannah Stalky. I continue to reiterate my belief that she's playing out of position because of the needs with this team. She was 9 of 12, though, battling in over 32 minutes of gameplay. I thought in that first half there were a couple plays early where she was real unsure with the basketball. She was running the court really well, but she was losing the ball as she's trying to go up. But that got cleaned up as the game went on. She did finish with 5 turnovers. And so those are things to clean up as you head into the Big Ten tournament up in Minneapolis. What have you seen from her as she continues throughout, now that we're completed with the regular season, at the 5? What have you seen that's developed, changed with her?
Her confidence on the block. I know we've talked about this on the show, and specifically you, Corey, in regards to her not really having any post moves, her not really being able to finish and things like that. She, since her 47-point showing, she has become more efficient on the block. There was a time where she was against Ohio State's big post player, and she just simply went boom right into her and went up. We didn't see that before. Normally she would go into the post player and then fade out. It's like, no. I need that strong go in and finish. And those are the things that we're starting to see. Even in transition, she catches the ball, she gathers herself, she steps through and finishes on the other side. Those are the agilities and understanding how she can use her ability at the 4 at the 5 position. And I think she's finally starting to figure out how she can translate that to the 5 position. And like I said, she's not afraid anymore. Before, she would catch on the block and be looking around, trying to figure out who. And then by that time, now she's second guessing the move. She's not even looking for people now. She's, give me the ball, I'm ready to go to work. And you can see that mental shift for her.
J.M. Ramsey in the chat, who's excited for next year? Well, I'm pretty excited for March Madness. That's what we play for in large part. I know that you can't forget the journey, but I'm excited for Iowa to hopefully win a Big Ten title up in Minneapolis because, of course, they missed out on the regular season title to Ohio State, and have a chance now to make a run once again, win 3 games in 3 days, and take home a title in lead up to Selection Sunday. So we'll look forward to that. Lemansky with the super chat. Thank you, Lemansky. One of my faves goes down in battle. Wisdom in her senior night. Comments from the wheelchair. Molly Hawk Nation adores you. I would agree with that. I have a lot of respect for what she does, not just because of, she mentioned in her post-game, her senior ceremony, her interview, you don't got to be the biggest, the strongest, kind of a cliche, but she is such an ultimate with that. And the irony with her being seriously hurt, right, in this game, and then being wheeled back onto the court. I've thought about this because this isn't, she's not the first one to have this happen, but I can't imagine, especially a senior, battling through everything, Kachine. And you've been there, battling through summer, battling through every workout, getting to this point. And here's a team who's poised not just to win a Big Ten championship, but to win a national championship. And the reality that must have been going through her head as she was carried to the locker room, that she's probably never going to play again at Iowa. And, to see her back on the court with a smile on her face, I thought was inspiring. And that will leave a void. I mean, you talked about maybe Taylor McCabe takes some of those minutes. Sure. Kylie's playing better now. But that's a void. Remember when Molly was sick earlier this conference season, Iowa struggled at times, especially when Caitlin was struggling. So I'll be intrigued to see. Not intrigued, but I will wait for a diagnosis on Molly. But it definitely did not look good to see her come back out in a wheelchair. So thank you for the super chat, Lemansky. RY the Aces and Hawkeyes guy says Gabby Marshall definitely came to play. Kachine, talk a little bit about Gabby and the confidence level you're seeing from her second straight game, making 4 3-pointers on 7 attempts.
Gabby in March. I mean, at this rate, it's becoming a thing because I'm very happy for her. 100% very happy for her. I think I almost lost my brain when she, first of all, the fact that she took the pull-up 3 in transition. Okay, yes. The fact that she took the pop and stop pull up 3 in transition alone should tell you where she is confidence-wise. And the fact that she made it and got completely mauled across the head is crazy to me. So yeah, I was definitely lightheaded after that. I think I not woke my whole neighborhood up, but I'm pretty sure everybody heard me. But I'm happy for her because she's key. I've said this before. She's definitely key because she keeps the paint open. You know, like Kate, yes, Kate can shoot, but Kate's a cutter. That's what she does. She likes to cut and she gets fed and backdoor and all that good stuff. We need that. But we also didn't have like a knockdown 3-point shooter that was starting. Finally catching her rhythm. What happened? Okay, wait, no.
I got you, Kachine.
I don't know what happened. Like the whole screen went black, both you and me. It was weird. But anywho, the fact that she's feeling confident going into the Big Ten tournament is great. And any shooters out there know once you start feeling that, it's like you can't miss. Like it consumes you almost. So the fact that she is putting multiple games back to back is very good for us.
Diego wants to know, how was Hannah Stalky's last second shot at the end of the first half not good?
I don't know.
I
honestly have no idea.
Was it explained on the broadcast, Kachine?
They didn't say anything to us. I didn't even know it until you said it. I had no idea that it didn't count. And I was very confused because 0.3 seconds, you are allowed a tip in. So, and I went back because I can do that because I have the video. And I'm like, okay, let me see if the clock started late. You know, like I'm trying to figure it all out. And I'm like, okay, clock started on time. She literally caught it and put it right back up. I'm confused. So I really don't know. Maybe it was a makeup call for the technical that they called on Cody.
Yeah, a couple of technicals in this game. And you know, there was a chippy game. It was an unbelievable atmosphere, no question about it. The one thing I did say during the game that I thought Iowa got a little fortunate with, and you're going to be able to play the other side of this card because I know you kind of responded to me with the other side of the card. I thought Caitlin Clark was in danger. There was one moment where there were several players on the floor, and I believe it was JC Sheldon who was tangled up with Caitlin, and Caitlin, you know, ripped the ball away or something of that nature. But it almost was like she kind of swung in JC's direction, and it was never reviewed. There were no technicals handed down. I thought Iowa got a little fortunate there. I don't know if you saw the replay. We don't get any replays in Carver. So what were your thoughts on that play? And can you kind of walk us through what happened there?
So the reason why I said what I said, Corey, is because at the time, before Caitlin swung, well, she didn't really swing, but before that play, JC Sheldon's arm had wrapped to like here. That's what caused the flailing, should I say, is what I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
Because JC had her around the neck. So she swung her arm off of her, but then she kind of like, I'm going to call it a pat, because it wasn't like a fist or like a closed hand. She like went like this, like pretty much right like that. And JC just like looked at her like she didn't even make any gesture, anything of the sort. So that's why I said if they were going to call the swing on Caitlin, they would have had to have called the reach around the neck, because that's what caused that. Now, the Cody McMahon situation, they could have just let that go. I mean, yes, you know, she gave her a little extra shove, but also Caitlin also initiated the contact. So it was just kind of like, just let it rock. If she didn't like knock her to the ground, or it wasn't like an extra kind of situation, I don't think it was that serious. But yeah,
I did not see what happened with Molly Davis. I don't know if Fox replayed that, but can you tell those of us that were at the game what happened with Molly?
So when she stole the ball, which is a beautiful play, mind you, her knee was already in a V shape. Get what I mean by that? Like her knee was already inwards and her foot was almost flat on the ground. And so when she caught it, the way her knee was, it just buckled. And so that's what happened. So I already knew before she even got carried off. I was like, oh, she's done. Because of the way her knee buckled. It was like, there's no way. If in best case scenario, she strained something really bad on the inside of her knee. But even that, she's not going to be back in time for the tournament or for the NCAA tournament. So I was already sad about that. And then when she came out and they had it wrapped up, I already knew. I was like, oh, yeah. They don't wrap things up like that. Here's the key. If she would have came out with ice on her knee, I would have been like, oh, okay, it's a chance. But she was wrapped. Ice wasn't going to do nothing for her. Makes sense. So it was she was coming out with a brace on. That's why they had that there, because they needed to keep her knee stabilized. So at that point, I already knew it's not looking good for her. And she's probably going to go for x-rays and everything else. And they already know, that something's damaged. They just don't know exactly what's damaged. So I'm sure she'll have an MRI in the next 2 days or so, depending on how the swelling goes. If it swells up, then it's got to wait a couple days. But I mean, unfortunate for Molly. She gave us amazing minutes. I hate that for anybody, especially with what is surrounding this team and the possibilities of winning a Big Ten championship. She did last year, but winning another one, going into the NCAA tournament, it just sucks your senior year, ending it like that. But she's a crowd favorite. She's always going to be a crowd favorite. And I hope that she has she keeps that with her.
Tony in the chat says, Corey, can you make a tutorial video of how to call in? I think there's some sarcasm there. So yes, I told our caller that was on the phone line that's called, let's see, you want to know how many times this caller has tried to phone in, Kachine, since we started the show? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 times.
No, okay, well, they clearly want to talk.
They keep hanging up, so I don't know if they're, having a bad day. Maybe if it's an emergency like that, maybe call the authorities. We are not able to provide first aid. So, anyways.
I have to say something because I'm totally stealing it, and it is what it is. Diego Ramirez, I am totally stealing the Gabby Marshall. I'm totally stealing that. That is very clever. I'm keeping it. Yep.
Gabby Marshall. That's interesting. I don't think I've never heard that before.
Because I said she's just like March at this point. I'm keeping it. I love that. That's clever.
2 straight games where, again, she's shooting the ball well. I'm going to continue to be cautiously optimistic about Gabby Marshall. But I agree with you, what you said about her shot in transition. I said that same thing to the gentleman sitting to my right. I said, boy, that is a sign of a different level of confidence that she's not had. Like you said it perfectly, Cash. The fact that she's willing to take that shot in transition, then hits the shot and gets the contact, I think that just elevates the confidence level. Crowd was behind her. The crowd loves her, obviously. And so anyways, yeah, it was just a great showing for her. And let's see here. M. Finn says, at this point, are we the first number 2 in these NCAAs? Kachine, you have a better feel for the national.
I don't think so. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I try not to get into that too early. But what were we before? What number 2 were we before? 1, 2, or 3, or 4? But I'm pretty sure we had to have been the 4th because they had us playing up against South Carolina, which was the number 1 of 1. So if we're the 4th, we ain't going all the way to 1. I doubt that. So maybe 2, but thank God, get us away from 4. I don't want to play South Carolina. Not until the championship. I don't want those problems right now. in the Sweet 16, I think what was it, Sweet 16? No. I forgot when they said we meet them. It doesn't matter. I don't want it.
If they're number 2, they'd be meeting them in the Elite 8.
I don't want those. Seed. Nope. I don't want. Nope. Nope. So anywhere but the 4th number 2, I'm okay with, because clearly South Carolina is going to be the 1 of 1. So no.
Kachine, this was my first game in Carver with this team this year. I'd been to Kinnick when they had the game outside at Kinnick. Went to Hilton, of course, and it's my hometown of Ames. But this is the first time being in Carver. It was just really cool, and people talk about the electricity and the environment. All of that is true, as electric as you can imagine. What I thought was really funny and great for the sport is you have little children somewhere behind me in the stands. Oftentimes, their voices are the loudest when the officials are doing something that they don't like. Like this one girl, I don't know how old she was, but at one point, this little girl I heard yell right behind me. She's like, "Get glasses!" And it was totally original. It was directed to the official, and I just thought it was hilarious. And so, that's one thing about the women's game. Not to make this about gender, because it really isn't, but male or female children, the younger generation of fan, I think is so much more involved right now with women's hoops. And I think it's great. It's not just about the young girls. It's also about the young boys out there that are really look up to Caitlin Clark and to everybody on this team. And you have some really good leaders that are this is going to be not just the Caitlin Clark loss, but the leadership of some people like Sharon Goodman and Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall. And, just go down the list. Molly Davis has been a big part of, as a ball handling guard, I'm sure she's been a big part of leadership on this team since she arrived from Central Michigan. So the losses are going to be substantial. Just really good to see this team come together and be able to see a win against a top 2 team in the country. So congratulations again to Iowa. Brandon says, Kachine, do you see Iowa going after a transfer portal guard? Aaliyah Guyton is coming in as a 4/5-star recruit, but she's coming off. She just suffered a serious knee injury. And then, yes, a good point by Brandon, because Kenice Johnson Etienne was also on crutches today. Yep. So I don't know what the extent of her injury is, but you probably do attack the portal and look for a 1, don't you?
I'd look for a 1 and a 5, but that's not. I don't know if we have those kind of scholarships, but yeah, I would look for both. I would look for at least a 1. I would like a 5 too. But this would be. Lisa Bluter has not typically went into the portals, not her thing. So I'm curious to see if she's finally going to jump on the bandwagon with everybody else, or is she going to continue the whole high school thing? But yeah, I 100% agree. Having a veteran point guard with a pretty young team that you're going to have next year, with all the freshmen coming in and having everybody else, it's going to be a pretty young team. So having a veteran point guard to be able to lead that and be a voice would be very helpful.
Let's not forget, Molly Davis did come out of the portal. So while you're right about Lisa preferring not to dive headfirst into the transfer portal, Molly Davis has been really important for them. She was an ad that they were able to land from Central Michigan. So
yeah, but don't you think that there was a big reason for that in the name of Coach Reyna?
What's the connection? Say that again. You
Coach
cut out.
Reyna. Coach Reyna.
Sure, I understand, but I mean,
that's why she came. I don't think Lisa Bluter in general has like a big I want transfers. I'm this. That's not really. It's not really her thing. She likes the high school thing. She's old school. So the only reason why Molly was really a consideration is most likely because of how highly Coach Reyna was talking about her. And so she knew that she would fit in, especially to the program.
Kylie Feuerbach, also transfer.
That's true.
But here's the deal. The reason I
She
bring that up is
probably no, but I feel like Kylie, not she probably 100% was recruiting her at one point.
but my point, but Kachine, my point is, while I think you're probably right about there being some hesitation there, I would hope that Lisa, Jan, and company would look at the success they've had, those people out of the portal, and say, hey, maybe that's something we really can take advantage of. Like it's sort of like what we've seen with the Kirk Ferentz and Iowa football. Now they have NIL support that maybe the Iowa women and the Iowa men don't have for basketball. But you get a guy like Nick Jackson in from Virginia, and the dude was a superstar for that Iowa defense this year. The portal can work. Now, you can swing and miss. You can swing and miss, but I think by looking at what Molly and Kylie have done, hopefully Lisa looks at that and says, hey, this can work. You've got to be able to evolve. And especially with the departure of Caitlin Clark, I just have a hard time seeing them not go to the portal. I don't think Callie Levine, I have a lot of respect for Callie Levine, had her on the show here. And by the way, congratulations to Solon for winning a state title. But I don't think Callie Levine's going to come in and start as a freshman. Now, maybe I'm wrong on that, but if Aaliyah Guyton can't go, Molly Davis is gone, Caitlin Clark is gone. Is it going to be Callie Levine? Is Kenise Johnson Etienne? I mean, they got question marks there.
They do.
So, anyways.
Let's hope and pray, because that's what she needs to do.
Yeah. Chris is in the chat saying that Molly has a torn ACL for the second time. This is, I've not heard this official from
Molly
anybody.
Or the other girl that was on the crutches. Who is she talking to about?
That's a good question. We need to clear this up. This is just someone in the chat, so I just put it up here because people are talking about it. So I'm not confirming anything, but somebody.
You say Kenise.
Kenise. Okay. Thank you, Chris. So Kenise Johnson Etienne apparently has a torn ACL. I had not heard that, but I'm assuming Lisa said that in the press conference. That's not good. So how long is the recovery on that, Kachine? If she just did this in
9 months.
She's in that February. She's probably maybe going to be ready for the season, but boy, it's going to take a lot away from development, isn't it?
100%. 6 to 9 months. So kind of up to her, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Charles says, Molly, if you notice, her ice bag was on her thigh. Maybe it was a thigh bruise.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Listen, think on the bright side.
Hold on a second. Coming out in a wheelchair for a thigh bruise? Kachine?
It's crazy.
That's some
I
crazy
think that
stuff.
will debunk all of the Molly's a tough girl scenario, because no way is she coming out in a wheelchair with a thigh bruise.
Thigh bruise.
Yeah, there you go, Andy. She was immediately grabbing. She was grabbing her knee before she even hit the floor.
Yeah. So
there's that.
Thoughts on this, Camila Silva Alves? I hope it's probably Camilla. Anyways, so apparently Cody McMahon is liking hate tweets, and her Woodworks adds that he wants an explanation as to why Cody's so salty all the time. Iowa lives rent-free in her head. She's doing petty things on Twitter. Kachine, I'm not on Twitter right now, so I'm not.
Me either.
Following.
I mean, Ohio State hates Iowa, even back to my days. So it's not a cordial relationship with us in Ohio State, especially after they stole the Big Ten championship from us. Well, technically the refs did, but either way, it started way back with Samantha Perhalis, and it's continued. So that's fine. She can hate all she wants to. It's going to be an interesting matchup, because now we 1-1. That third game is going to be fun.
It certainly will. And Hawkeye Howard, great comment. This is the comment of the day. There were a lot of big names in Carver today. Jamie, one of your old teammates, Jamie, was there, right? And yep. I believe she's recently a mother. Am I correct in saying that?
She already had a son, so she just had a baby girl.
All right. Well, she's mother of multiple now. And then we had Mackenzie Meyer was there. Mackenzie Meyer Wieskamp, I guess, technically. And then Logan Cook, who actually transferred to Providence, came back and was featured on the big board today. We had, how about this? How about Travis Scott?
Yeah, I saw that. Interesting.
What you think about that, Kachine? Travis
Random.
Scott was in the game.
Very random, but hey, I'm all for it.
That's a big name.
Yeah, I know, but random. Like, has he ever said anything about Iowa women's basketball before? Or like,
I don't know, but what I thought
I'm not
was
mad
cool,
at it. I'm just saying. Nolan Ryan was there.
Who was the other one?
Nolan Ryan.
Oh, Nolan Ryan. Yeah, Nolan Ryan was there as well. I didn't see Nolan Ryan, but I saw a picture on social media. I looked up on for those of you older people or people who just don't listen to hip hop or rap. And I'm not the biggest hip hop guy, but does anybody want to take a guess, Kachine, at how popular Travis Scott is? Like, Spotify ranks their most listened to artist. Do you want to know in the world, internationally, all genres, where Travis Scott ranks as far as most listens on Spotify?
Couldn't tell you.
20th in the world. That is, I mean, I think that's pretty darn good. Are you a Travis Scott fan, Kachine?
Nope.
Okay. What kind of music you listen to?
I'm very happy that not this new age rap. I tell you that. That is not for me. But I'm very happy that he came and he was actually engaged too. That's the part that I liked about it. You know how like celebrities just sit there and they're like acting like they're too cool for school? I don't like that. Like, if you're gonna come to a basketball game, at least cheer, do something. So I was very happy that he was invested.
Yeah, he was interacting with the crowd, taking pictures with people. I thought it was great. I thought it was fabulous. I thought it was fantastic. And so what, real quick, not to segue, but we got 500 people on here, and everybody I know is dying to hear what music you listen to. So are you like more of like 90s, or like you say this modern age? You said just this modern age of rap music. So is there different type
all
of
these
music
little babies and the babies and then all of them people? No, that's not for me.
Who? What babies? What are you talking about?
Lil Baby. It's two different rappers. Lil Baby, the baby, DA, mind you. I'm sorry. I have no desire to listen to any of that. Yeah, I'm more 90s R&B. I could do a little 90s hip hop, you know.
Okay.
I kind of stick to that. I'm Caribbean, so I do a lot of Caribbean music.
Oh, okay.
That's about it. I can't take this. It makes my head hurt.
Not to give a plug to the Iowa State Fair, but the Iowa State Fair this year, Kachine, you'll have to come up to Des Moines because Neo is at the Iowa State Fair this year.
Interesting.
I'm assuming you're probably a Neo fan if you're talking about 90s R&B.
Well, yeah, I'm a fan of his music. Maybe not him as a person, but yes, I'm a fan of his music.
Stacy, I think we kind of addressed this about replacing Cece. You don't really replace Caitlin Clark, but at the point guard position next year, we may have to just wait and see what happens in the portal.
Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of question marks there. I don't even know who would be the favorite at this point. I have no idea.
Nobody. Not a single one. Sorry, I don't have a single person.
That's crazy stuff, man. I don't know the last time I've said that about any position where you're like, I have no idea. I have no idea who the next starting point guard is going to be. Frankly, I have no idea who the next 1-2 is going to be. I mean, you've got Gabby Marshall, who's been starting. You know, does Taylor McCabe take a big enough jump where she's starting? Is Kylie Feuerbach ready for that role?
I'm probably going Kylie at the 2, Sydney at the 3, Hannah at the 4, and I don't know who's at the 1 and 5.
Yeah, those are some pretty big question marks.
Yeah. No idea.
Yeah. Okay, before we continue here, I want to give a shout out to our friends RTI Threads over in North Sioux City. They've been working with Iowa baseball, and boy, I walked out to my car after the game today, Kachine, and it felt like baseball weather. 80 degrees on my car thermometer in Iowa City. Now, I looked it up on my phone because, sunlight and affects.
You lying, Corey.
Thermometer. My phone said 78. When the game was done, it was 78. I was sweating. I had jeans and a T-shirt on, or a polo, short sleeve shirt. 78 degrees. It's March 3rd.
Y'all more. Y'all got us beat. Not by a lot, but you still got us beat. So
What's it like in
good for
Charlotte?
you. 64.
64. Man, 60. We got you beat by a lot right now. That's crazy.
Yeah,
So anyways,
yesterday was really nice.
but RTI Threads is working with Iowa Baseball and the Swarm. So check out iowabaseballswarm.com and support Iowa Hawkeye Baseball. Their season just underway. Check it out at iowabaseballswarm.com. Also, again, want to thank Iowa Smokehouse for being a part of the show and great products each and every game day or any day for your snacking needs, etc. Check out the selection of their meat sticks, their bacon products, also their salsas, barbecue sauces, and more. Visit iowasmokehouse.com. Use the code Hawkeyes for 15% off your order. You'll also get free shipping on every $50 order. Find out how tasting is believing with our friends down in Albia at Iowa Smokehouse. Visit iowasmokehouse.com. All right. Terry, thank you for becoming a member here, a premium member on YouTube. Appreciate that, Terry. And to all of our premium members, I do appreciate each and every one of you. Let's see. Lemansky with the super chat. Shout out to Rhythm and Blues.
That was a good time.
So how about this? Doug says apparently Nolan Ryan paid $35,000 for 5 tickets for his family.
I heard that. Yeah, somebody said on Twitter it was like $7,000 a pop. I don't know what kind of money he got, but that's crazy.
Spencer wants to know about Ava Jones. I do not have any update on Ava Jones. She was brought up the other day. I brought up her YouTube vlog that she started, a YouTube channel. Check it out. I've watched at least one of her videos, and she talks about her journey and whatnot. But I don't know as far as her progression as a potential college basketball player. I know she had 2 very serious knee and surgery, not that long ago. And in addition to everything else she's facing. So it's just good that she can be part of the team. She's on scholarship, and, you know, you always hold out hope for the future. So I appreciate that question, Spencer. Comment here from Dale. Yes, Lynette Woodard, your thoughts on seeing not only Maya Moore at the game, she's another big name that was there, but being able to see Lynette Woodard, I thought that was fabulous.
I thought that was very classy of Iowa to bring her, because a lot of people were not talking about her. And so I thought that was very classy of Iowa. And then Maya Moore is awesome. I love her. So, yeah.
Okay, so Dan brings up the recruiting class here in 2024. We can hit this real quick before we turn our attention to this year and you know, the next week or so. Yes, Ava Hayden coming in from Oregon. You've got Aaliyah Guyton from Peoria, but she's coming off a knee injury. Tegan Mullaney, she was actually at the game. Tegan was sitting. I saw her down, maybe next section over. Callie Levine was also there. So you have a good class. No one's debating a good class coming in. But the question is this class going to be able to fill the gap that is Caitlin Clark, Molly Davis, etc.? And I think it's likely that they will not be able to, just based purely off the production of those players. So,
but freshmen are wild cards. You don't really know. You could guess, but you don't really know how they're going to translate to college basketball, unless they're Caitlin Clark.
Okay, couple things here. I'm kind of behind on the chat, so I apologize on that. A lot of people here. Appreciate all 500 here who are still watching. And
we ain't got no phone calls. What's going on?
I don't know. Is the phone line not working? Well, no. Hold on. I know the phone line's working because our friend who's called like a dozen times continues to call, and I keep answering, and he keeps hanging up. So I'm not answering his phone calls anymore, Kachine. If you want to call in, feel free to call in by StreamYard. The link is in the description. And I'll also throw it up in the live chat if you have any question for Kachine. How about that? Our Iowa Smokehouse phone line is dead right now, minus the one person that doesn't know how to use it properly.
They all nervous. Hey, Spencer, that's funny.
Yeah, they're nervous to talk to you, Kachine.
Oh my goodness.
No, as you saw the comment, I missed the meat of that comment a few minutes ago about all the superstars. You had Travis Scott, you had Maya Moore, you had Lynette Woodard, you had Fran McCaffrey was there, Patrick was there. Trying to think, who else am I missing?
Come on,
Nolan Ryan was there.
You're missing a big one.
The 3 previous Hawkeye women. Who's the other one, Kachine?
Jake from State Farm.
Oh, give me listen. I love our friend over. I love I love Brad Van Meter down at State Farm. Like I plugged him earlier. Great guy to work with, and certainly he'll take care of you and your insurance needs over at State Farm in Des Moines. But as it relates to Jake from State Farm being some celebrity up there with the status of Travis Scott and Nolan Ryan, I think it's hilarious. Now, Jake from Farm, who, by the way, isn't even the original Jake from State Farm. Remember the original Jake from State Farm that actually was wearing khakis in the original commercial? Like, it's great publicity for that company, but I just think it's funny. He was shooting T-shirts into the stands today. So he was involved as well. And I saw him chatting it up with Maya Moore down on the sidelines. So,
well, they were sitting next to each other. So they should.
Oh, that's nice. Well, who is that guy? Can we just ask, who is that guy?
Jake
we don't even know
from State Farm. What do you mean? Nobody even knows the man's name. Is it Jake? I mean, honestly,
that's the point. When you start referring to someone by their fake, you don't even know their real name. Then that tells me they don't have the celebrity status. They don't have a celebrity status. I'm sorry. Like if Flo from Progressive in a game, I'm not calling her a celebrity. She's happens to be a spokesperson for a certain company. Anyways, taking nothing away from Jake from State Farm, but now I believe sounds like College Game Day was a great time. Did you watch any of the pregame stuff on ESPN?
I did. I had to start cooking Sunday dinner.
Okay. All right. Well,
sorry.
What do we have you here for, Kachine? Just kidding. Just joking. Okay. Let's see here. A couple things here in the chat. Yes. So Hawkeye Howard brought this up. The biggest star of all, right? And of course they honored everybody, but you didn't see postgame, Kachine. They had me out on the court, and they presented me with a signed ball. And
are you joking? Are you?
I'm joking. Yes.
Oh, please, I was going to say.
Please don't confuse some of the viewers that are already by nature confused. Yes, they gave me a game ball.
He can't get into the phone line.
Who can't phone line?
Lemansky. That's what he said. He can't get into the phone line, and you're trying to have all the fun. That's why you are not letting people call. Is that true, Corey?
Lemansky, wow. Call on StreamYard. You absolutely can call on StreamYard. I know you've done it before, Lemansky. You can do it again. I threw up the link in the live chat. So we just had somebody just jumped on and wanted to talk to you, I guess, and then she jumped off. Someone I'd never seen before. So I think they're just intimidating.
Call back.
Call her back. I can't call her back a video call.
No, I'm talking. The message was to whoever called, Corey.
Should we call the? Hey, Kachine, should we call the person who's been calling nonstop and confront them on it?
Sure. You know what though? Are we sure that they're actual Hawkeye fans?
No, they could be a troll for all I know.
Well, let them troll because I am the best troll there is. So go.
So you want me to call them back?
Let's see, because maybe they're struggling.
Maybe they're struggling. I have the feeling they're not, but we can try that. Let's see here. I've never done that. I don't think I've ever done this on the show before.
Well, there's a first for everything.
We're gonna call this person
back. It's
here.
Ricky. Who's Ricky?
This person who's called like 8 dozen times. Let's see if we can get them back on the line. Here we go. Let's see if we can.
Ooh, drum roll. Do they answer?
Okay, we're not going to leave a message. So you know what that
I'll leave a message. Oh, you should have put it on there. I'd have left a message, Corey. I swear I would have.
You know what that tells me, Kachine? You know what that tells me? That it's not a real call. It's a real call, but it's likely what we call an attention seeker. So
that's fine. I'd have left a nice little message.
Lansky, yes. If you're interested in calling, please use the StreamYard link. I'll throw it up in the live chat again. I don't think I've ever had, with the exception being the buddy boy that keeps trying to call in and failing, I don't think I've ever had a show where you got 500 people on and nobody wants to call in. Or maybe it's just, again, nobody's courageous enough to call in.
Is YouTube glitching on us or something? Let me look.
No, it's not glitching. It's not glitching at all. They're just intimidated by your stardom, Kachine. So
No way.
let's see.
I don't know what it is
Let's
that
see
many
here.
people on here.
All right, let's run through the.
Where are my two regulars that call all the time?
Who are your two regulars?
Where they at?
I'm telling you that the line is open. People out there, they want to talk to you, Kachine. They absolutely can do that. Bobby says, do you see anyone leaving to hunt minutes somewhere else? That's a good question if we're talking about the future as we wrap up the regular season. Is there anybody on this roster that you could see jumping to the transfer portal to try to find more minutes and opportunity?
I doubt it. One, because there's so much uncertainty next year. So who is there anyone on the roster right now, or at least there shouldn't be, that actually feels like I'm not going to get minutes next year? So I don't know why you would, because you have the upper hand being there already for how many ever years that you've been there, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, whatever. And then on top of that, you got a bunch of freshmen coming in. You might have some transfers. We don't know that yet, but why would you leave? That doesn't make sense. I mean, depending on who it is, go right ahead. But
yeah, I think a lot of these, I think a lot of the ladies that are on this team are going to just have bigger roles next year if they stick around, like Kylie, like Sydney. You're just losing a lot. So, and I don't think I don't think there's any of those players that are going to be like offered tons of money to go other places. Like that's happening a lot in college athletics now, especially with football and men's basketball. And I'm sure it happened with some people that transferred to an SEC school or two. But I don't see that happening with some of Iowa's role players. Let's go to, we've got somebody that wants to talk to you. We got a couple people who want to. We got a couple people who want to talk to you, Kachine. So let's go to our Hawkeye call-in line.
Well, the ones who was too scary to do so, thumbs up.
John is with us. John.
Yes.
Hey, John.
Hey, I had a couple questions. One I seen on there, it mentioned that they could only get one person in the portal because of Sharon Goodman leaving. Why can you only get one in the portal if they got 5 people leaving?
Well, they've got they got a freshman class coming in, John.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so they only got one free space.
Well, I don't know how many free spaces they have. I think they had one
let's
scholarship open.
Come on, let's do the math. How many newbies we got?
Let me go look up the.
I counted down on the top 100, and there was like 3 of them I seen.
Let's chat. You can help us out with this. Let's count this out. This will help everybody. So let's do returning first. We have Addison O'Grady, Kylie, a Falter, Taylor McCabe,
I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do, Kachine. Because our friends over at Hawkeye Report, they do a scholarship distribution chart. Okay.
Yes,
so why don't we just take a look at that? I know they do a great job. Kyle Huseman and the guys, Tom Kakert and the guys over there at Hawkeye Report do a great job with the scholarship distribution chart. So let's take a look at their scholarship distribution chart as of recent. So they're actually sitting at 14 of 15 right now accounted for. All right.
Okay.
And
so we only have one available scholarship.
Let's see. That is with seniors. Gabby Marshall is a senior. Molly Davis, Caitlin Clark. I'm just looking through all the different positions. Kate Martin accounted for. Okay, so Sharon Goodman leaving. You're right about one thing, John. Sharon Goodman leaving, according to what I'm seeing here, does open up an additional scholarship.
So 2.
That's what I'm seeing. They were at 14 of 15 without Sharon leaving, and now with Sharon leaving, that tells me they get an extra scholarship available.
Yeah, I'd say like Shakeen said that they need a more experienced 1 and 5. You know, someone that's
I agree.
Maybe only gonna be there a year or 2.
Well, the hard part about that though is when you take on a full roster of 15, it doesn't leave you any wiggle room for the rest of the years. So it is something they're gonna have to play with. If they could get like a 5th-year point guard or something like that, so they're only there for 1 year, that would be beneficial because then you still get that scholarship back after that.
Yeah.
But getting a transfer that has 2-3 years left,
Well, yeah,
puts you kind of in a bind.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm confirming this right here.
Yeah.
Freshman
Well,
classes: Callie Levine, Taylor Strimlow, Aaliyah Guyton, Tegan Mullaney, Ava Hayden. That means they're at 13 scholarships if no one else transfers out. 13 scholarships. They have 2 to work with, which is 2 to work with. I mean, the freshman class is full. So that's 2 to work with. You should be able to do something with those 2 open scholarships.
Well, with that Ava Hayden, what would they use her as?
She's a post, right?
Yeah, she's going to come in and have a chance to compete for playing time immediately, I would think, at the 5.
Yeah. That's what I wondered. I know it says she's 6'4", so that's what I wondered. That'd be taller than anybody they got. Maybe only by an inch, but
yeah. Addison is 6'3" or so, but yeah, Ava Hayden is a skilled post too. And let's not forget, like, not to just discount people like AJ Ediger and obviously Addison O'Grady, but Ava Jones was also a really highly touted prospect. And what happened with that whole situation is extremely unfortunate. Obviously much bigger than basketball, but she was part of the future as well. And, a year into her career, is she more of a 4 or 5? Well, we won't know, at least not right now, but that changed things. So
okay.
Anything else, John?
Yeah, there was something else. It was tip of my tongue. Now it went.
That's okay.
Don't mind my eyes if they look bad.
Oh, your eyes.
Yeah, I didn't know if they looked that bad on the camera or not. They're just getting better. I had to have my eyelids lifted.
Oh.
They were covering half of my pupil.
Okay.
Very interesting.
So I had to get them lifted.
You can see a little bit better.
Yeah, and brighter. I was surprised. It made it a lot brighter.
Well, congratulations on your eyelids.
Just in time for March. Congratulations.
Yeah, I don't have to pull my eyes up to watch the games with my eyelids up.
Yeah. John, congratulations on do you have a Buckeyes shirt on?
Yeah, I called you a couple of weeks ago, told you I was a Buckeye fan, but I follow the Iowa women.
Okay.
Actually, as the game went on, I got rooting for Iowa to win. I started out, it didn't matter in a way, but yet,
Look at that.
I love that. That's funny.
Converting.
So I'll root for them both. Get as far as they can. We'll see what happens.
Good.
And go ahead, John. Do you have something else?
I was just going to say, Kachine was talking about where they had it when the people picked their picks for who'd be in the Final Four. One of them had South Carolina and Iowa playing, so they must be at the opposite ends.
Let's pray, because God.
So they're 2 separate things, but they had them at the 2. And so they would come up and have to face each other, and they had them as a Final Four. So,
all right, well,
and one of them had Ohio State in the Final Four. So these are all in different areas.
John, congratulations on the eyelid lift and your conversion to Iowa Hawkeye athletics.
Okay, thank you. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, sir. I have never had.
Can I say something? Just make this easier for everyone. Everybody can call me Cash. You don't have to call me by my government name. KASH is just fine. You don't have to call me Kachine. It's all right. Throw that out there.
I'm telling you, people are intimidated by the former All Big Ten star athlete. So,
but why though? I'm very far retired, folks. So please come and join us.
Didn't you just play in a volleyball championship game the other night? What are you talking about being retired?
From basketball?
Yeah, from basketball, but you're still competing, right? You never stop competing. All right, let's go back to our Iowa. Let's go back to our Iowa Smokehouse call-in line. We've got Tom on hold. Tom, welcome.
Okay, I did try to call in, and it just went to like a Google account message deal on the call-in. On the phone.
Yes, because I shut it down because of our
weird person.
I see. Okay.
Yes, that's why I encourage everybody to call in on StreamYard. We'll take care of that person later. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, Kachine, if you're ever looking for something entertaining, which I'm sure you don't have this much time to waste, but you should go back and watch Corey's post-game show from the Wisconsin game when he had a bunch of kids in his background at
Oh,
Madison.
you're talking about the
It is
football
hilarious.
post-game show?
Yes,
Why would you
it's
hold on a
hilarious.
second? Why would you, Tom? I love you, and I know you and your wife watch the show. Why would Kachine want to go back and watch that post-game show?
What? Clearly, it was funny.
It was.
I
funny.
mean, I would say it was more annoying than anything. You want to know what
Maybe
it
Well,
actually
to you.
was?
enough on you.
Can I tell you what it actually was?
Sure.
Here's what it was. All right, I was in Madison for Iowa, and it wasn't a hotel lobby, by the way, Finn.
It was a
Don't be-
disaster.
You are a disaster because you're wrong. But anyways, let me make this very clear. Iowa, Wisconsin, Iowa wins in Madison. I was not in a hotel lobby. All right.
Okay.
I was in a different public place that gave me Wi-Fi. I was able to use their Wi-Fi. It was late. I had to drive 4 hours home that night, but I had to do a post-game show. So I did a post-game, and you have a mother, and I love mothers, right? My mom's a Kachine, my mom is a mother, for the record. All right.
Clearly.
But let me just say something. This person brought her kids, her screaming children in right behind my live stream. And I get it. Like at first, she probably didn't realize what I was doing. But these kids would not stop. And they weren't yelling, but they were just giggling like at the top of their lungs for a good 10 or 15 minutes. It was so disruptive that I had to basically end the show. So anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, can I say my piece now?
Yes.
Number one, Corey, you're lying because everybody is talking about how funny it was. So I'm 100% going back to watch it. Number two, I just need everybody in the chat for my sanity. I just need you guys to tell us what it wasn't. I heard it was at the breakfast bar. I've heard it was in the hotel bathroom, police booking. So I just need a bunch of what it wasn't because
it was not any of those things you just said. It was nowhere.
I can literally see. I can envision you being so annoyed, which is probably why it was funny because of your increasing.
Corey was what was funny.
Here's what I'm trying to get through to people. Here's what I'm trying to get through to people. People who keep saying it was at a hotel or a motel. I did not stay in a hotel. I told you I drove home that night. I did not have a hotel. So it was not at a hotel. It was not at a motel. It was not at a hotel. It wasn't at an Airbnb or a Verbo or any of those things. So anyways.
I'm crying. Literally.
It was not Starbucks either. Go ahead, Tom. Do you guys how about this quote up on the screen, Kachine? How do you like this quote up on the screen? This is from last show.
Touch it.
Yeah.
You cannot deflect.
Yes, no, this quote from Kachine last time we did a live show. I'm like Michael Jordan, period.
Oh
Go ahead,
God.
Go ahead, Tom.
Truck stop. Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm crying. This is hilarious.
Well, I thought the Hawks, they held the paint a lot better today. I didn't get to see. I listened to the first half. Didn't get to see it, but seen the second half. Where can I go to what site to find out what Caitlin's shooting percentage is in the second half compared to the first half? It just seems like she loses her legs towards the end of the game, and I mean her 3-point percentage in the second half is not very good.
Well, I can tell you what her percentage was today. You want me to give you the percentages today, Tom?
In the second half?
Yeah, I'll compare.
Shots,
I'll compare first half to
second. I only remember one 3-pointer in the second half.
Yeah, let me compare them. So she was 6 of 15 from the field in the first half, 4 of 10 from 3. Second half, Caitlin was 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3.
So not much different. Okay.
I mean, a little different, right? I mean, 2 of 7's not as good as 4 of 10, but
right. It just looks, like the Nebraska game, it looked like the gas was just out of her and her shots were a little short, come the end of the game, and it really helps when like Kate Martin steps up and makes some of them third, fourth quarter 3-point shots.
Absolutely.
I don't believe Kate Martin scored any until the second half, right? Like fourth quarter.
Well,
I
Let's
looked
see.
there like third quarter and she was goose egged yet.
Yeah, first half, it appears as though Kate Martin, let's see. Yeah, you're right. 0. She had 7 rebounds in the first half. Am I looking at that right?
Yeah.
7 rebounds for Kate Martin in that first half.
Yeah. But no, it's if we lose Molly, it's gonna make things tough. So
Absolutely.
hope for the
People-
best.
Good
Look forward
timing
to
with
Friday.
Kylie. With Kylie playing better, it's good timing. If there's a
So who
silver
we got to
lining.
play? Did you guys go over that at the beginning? Who we gonna play in the Big Ten tournament? Have you guys
I
looked
did
into
not.
that?
I have not. As soon as I got back here, first of all, I'm not like our
Okay.
guy Tony over in the men's show that follows all those potential seedings and whatnot. I got on the show. I've not looked at any brackets or anything. I know they're not going to. Obviously, we know they're not going to play till Friday, right?
Are we gonna be 3? Does Indiana get the tiebreaker, or are we gonna be at 2? Not that it matters.
You're asking me questions I don't have answers for, Tom.
Yeah.
There, I
Guess
should
I
have
can
the
look
answer
it
for
up.
it. So let me see if I can pull this up here. So, based on what I am seeing, according to, I don't want the Big West. I want the Big Ten. According to ESPN, Iowa is the 2 seed. According to ESPN. So I don't know what the what is the 2-way tiebreaker after head to head. Do we know the answer to that question, Kachine?
nope.
Yeah,
My guess is probably if I had to guess, would be your record versus the number 1 seed. But there's so many different ways that could go.
Yeah. Anything else, Tom?
Yep, I'll check that into that, and we'll talk later.
You're the man. Thank you, Tom. All right, a couple of things. Yes, James confirming in our live chat, and Evan in the chat. Iowa's the 2 seed, so appreciate that information. And let's go to our next Iowa Smokehouse caller. We've got Spencer, who is here with us. Spencer, you don't have a shirt on.
It's nice out. It's like 80 degrees.
Okay, well, it is nice out. I'll give you that. It is close to 80 degrees. Are you calling in from Iowa, Spencer?
Southern Iowa, Mediapolis, Des Moines County, down by Burlington.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. Appreciate you calling in.
Well, I called in just because I've been following you guys the past how many so weeks. There's a couple times I missed the show because these ridiculous 8 o'clock p.m. tip-off times, and got to be up for work early in the morning. And
Yep.
I hear that.
Cash Money is like one of the second Iowa goats. I mean, I started watching when Iowa women's basketball back when I was a freshman in high school, almost 14 years ago, before this started getting cool. Because I remember watching Cash Money, Doolittle play, Morgan Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just about to say, you watched that? Okay. Well, hey.
How old?
How many callers I feel like I've had that have actually watched me play? So that's good.
Spencer, I'm curious. How old are you?
I'm 28, almost 29.
Okay. All right. So we're basically the same age. So, well, we are the same age. So it's interesting.
He was more invested than you, Corey.
Who said I didn't watch? Have I ever, hold on. You've never asked me whether I watched Iowa women's basketball back then. And I've never said that I didn't watch Iowa women's basketball then. So let's just clear that up right now. Second of all, I'm just doing the math because Spencer, if he watched you, 10 years ago, right? It's been longer than that, right? It's been more like 12 years ago. So you would have been in high school when you were watching Iowa women's basketball.
Because I remember we had a good run. We made it to the tournament. Well, we did good in the Big Ten tournament. I think it was 2 years ago, back when we still had Camille Walline. Does that name sound familiar?
Camille Walline, yes. She was my point
Absolutely.
guard with Jamie Prinny.
Yeah, so You were on that. Yes.
And Kelly Cry
Yes.
and Morgan Johnson was our starting five for a while. So
She was probably one of
you're
my
right.
favorites, too. I mean, she was a great post player.
She was. It started a whole train, honestly speaking, of just players to come after us and everything else. But yeah, that was, I think, our big run in the tournament when we had the controversial referee stuff in the Big Ten championship with Ohio State. So that kind of trickled us down, should I say, until we actually won it a couple years later.
Yeah. And just back to today, if you want to talk about, I mean, I'm honestly going to miss her just because Sharon Goodman, if you want to talk about someone fighting through adversity, just because she went to Crestwood, not far from my hometown. I watched her play in high school when I played, and she absolutely lit it up. But she's going to be one of those teammates that everybody wants, everyone's going to miss. I'm honestly going to miss her, to be honest. Even though she fought through stuff, losing her mom, injuries. She's that teammate
Yeah, that's
everybody
tough.
wants.
Have we heard anything about her? Is she hurt?
Sharon?
Yeah.
No, she was in at the end of the game.
Okay.
I just think if she didn't have those injuries, that kind of.
She's just. I think Addison has just played better, and it's not like Addison's getting a ton of minutes, but Addison has just played better.
When we blew out Indiana, I would have expected to see her a little bit more. No, or not Indiana. Sorry, Illinois. Like
Penn State.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
And honestly, take away those injuries, I think the injuries killed Sharon, I think. Like the 2 ACLs she blew.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for not being afraid to call in.
Yeah, I know. I was the one being a smart ass before. They're all scared. But
thank you for the Spencer.
Do we have what it takes?
Go ahead.
Do we have what it? I try to be positive, not too optimistic. I mean, the things are starting to click now, but can we keep that momentum going into the big and the NCAAs, so we don't have another repeat of being bounced out in the second round 2 years ago? What I'm kind of scared about, to be honest.
Matchups. Maybe we should do a selection Sunday. One of these things, Corey.
You're way behind, Kachine. I do all kinds of stuff on Selection Sunday. So,
excuse me, you didn't invite me.
You know, here's the deal. You're giving me a hard time, accusing me of not watching you when you were at Iowa, and you don't even know that I do a Selection Sunday show. So, anyways,
I was more so talking about inviting me. I was not talking about you having one at all.
Okay. Yeah. No. We'll definitely do that.
But yeah, do we have what it takes to keep the ball rolling so we don't have another second round?
Do we have what it takes? Yes.
Is it possible for them to lose? Yes.
Yes. That doesn't help your anxiety at all.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yep.
Anything's possible. But that was just embarrassing, that second round bounce out from Creighton. There was a few curse words involved after watching that.
I'm sure.
You're not the only one. Spencer, thank you for calling in, sir, and for being a part of the show. I do appreciate that, and keep watching, keep being here. We'll talk to you next time.
I will keep talking. Thank you, Corey. You guys quit fighting, please.
Okay, sir. We're giving a vibe here, Kachine, that there's some vendetta between you and I. So
not at all.
No, I just like the point.
Corey, why is the quote up?
I'm sorry, the quote's just the default. So whenever I take down a comment, that comes back up.
Why is that the default, Corey.
It's the default. It's perfect for the situation, for the context of the conversation.
Okay,
Yes.
fair.
So real quickly, it's brought up here. Yes, Iowa is a 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament, which means they'll play Friday. And let me confirm this before
What do we have?
I repeat it on the air. I want to make sure we have the correct information here. So the 2 seed will play Friday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. They'll play the winner of the 10-7 game. And that's a good question. 7-10 game.
Penn State and
Well, I don't know because Penn State and Maryland are tied at 9-9. Those two teams are tied for 6th at 9-9. So I think it's Maryland. They're the 7, and then the 10 would be Wisconsin, I believe, at 6-12.
we're playing Maryland. Okay.
Purdue has not played yet. They play at 6 tonight, and they could enter into a 2-way tie with Wisconsin for 10th place. So we still got some things to work out because we've still got Purdue and Michigan scheduled to play here in about an hour. All right, let's go to our next Iowa Smokehouse caller. Tyler is here. Tyler, welcome.
Hi. Just real quick, and I'll get out of you guys' hair. Kachine, you said that with Davis likely out, Iowa has a chance to go bigger. Now, will that result in, do you think, a dramatic change in how Iowa has been playing basketball thus far? And if so, in what ways?
I wouldn't say that it's going to change dramatically. I think it helps us be more of a bully, if that makes sense. It allows the flexibility within the guards. If I'm being honest, Ohio State did not do a good job of exploiting their strengths. Meaning, Theory, I hope I'm saying her name right. She's a big athletic guard. No way should we have been able to get away with having Molly Davis guard her. No way. That should not happen. But they were not exploiting that, which they should have. And so with Molly Davis being out, now you put in a Sydney Falter. We don't have those mismatches like that anymore. I don't think it changes the way we play because Lisa Bluter's offense is, you can put anybody anywhere, if that makes sense, as far as the 4 guards are concerned. I would be curious to see if they start to potentially add in, like we've talked about, the double post, because if guards get in foul trouble, we're going to be in trouble because we down a guard. So with that being said, what's your backup plan? Our backup plan, if Molly got in foul trouble or somebody else got in foul trouble, we could put in a Sydney Falter, we could put in a Kylie Fearbach, but now you take away that extra person. If Sydney gets in foul trouble, you put in Kylie. But now what happens? Kate needs a sub. You know what I'm saying? Sydney was her sub. So now it just changes the whole dynamic of substitutions. So we might have to dispose it.
I'm sorry. I was really surprised to see Kylie Fearbach have such a defensive coming out party today. That was really stunning to me. Does that do we need more of a sample size with that, determining how many playing minutes she would get if, say, Sydney gets into foul trouble? Because I assume you mean that now that Davis is out, that Sydney would be plugged into that role, correct? I mean, is that what you're thinking?
It's a 2-part, right? Because it's up for grabs, Sydney and Kylie. If I'm being honest, it's up for grabs as far as that spot. Sydney has started in that spot already, so that's why I'm assuming it's going to be her. She's already, when Molly was out, she was already in there, so I'm assuming it's going to be her. But Kylie has come on up as of late, so I don't know what that's going to be. But my other thing was when Kate comes out of the game, Sydney is the one who's playing the 4. So if somebody's in foul trouble, let's just say Sydney's in foul trouble because she can be. She's aggressive. We know that.
Yeah.
If she gets in foul trouble, Kate needs a sub. So who is it going to be? The only other option is to move Hannah to the 4 and now move Addison O'Grady to the 5. We don't have another 4 if Sydney gets into foul trouble.
What are your feelings on Addison O'Grady right now? Because earlier in the season, I don't trust her any as far as I can throw her. she's kind of warmed up in my eyes, for lack of a better term. She's showing a little bit more competence and that sort of thing in her game situations. Do you trust her more? Because I'm starting to trust her a little bit more now.
I mean, yeah, I would trust her a little bit more to give her spot minutes for sure. And as far as like a 2-post rotation, and don't get me wrong, I don't think that Lisa Bluder wants to do that, right? She likes her 4-guard lineup. You just have to be prepared, because if you get into serious foul trouble, you're not gonna have a choice. So don't be caught, as they say, with your pants down, because you haven't even practiced it. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. At this point, with the numbers that we have, we don't have a choice but to have that as a backup plan. Again, I know she doesn't want to do that. She wants to stick with her 4-guard lineup. And if everything goes according to plan, stick with it. Whatever. But you got to have a backup plan. And in case we get into a lot of foul trouble, which is possible if we're playing a bigger team, you got to have something. You can't just stick to that, or you're going to be stuck.
One more thing. In one of the earlier times you were on here, you said that a lot of player development has to occur over the summertime. Yep. Given what we have as far as players coming back next year, who really needs to have a big summer of development in order to secure some of those spots that you were talking about? Because the way I have the lineup next year is, Stalky, Folter, Feuerbach, and then those other 2 roles are open. And so who needs to have who's already on the team, a really big summer in order to seize those opportunities, those positions, in your opinion?
Can I have 2? Can I have 2?
Oh, yeah, 2. Absolutely. That's what I mean, too. Yeah.
Addison O'Grady.
Yep.
100%. Have anything post-wise, and I feel like individual work with her could help. And Taylor McCabe. That her ability to shoot, we can't use her right now. And so it's just sitting on the bench. And so I would 100% say that. Oh, that's a good point, James. Jada, however you say her last name.
Gianfi?
Yep. I've seen her in very small minutes. Okay. Like, she barely plays. I'm not in practice. So but she could be something that could add something to us. But the first 2 I'm going to say for sure are Taylor McCabe and Addison O'Grady. Those 2 can make big strides over the summer, and they can go into that. I've done it too, in the sense of you play spot minutes 1 year and you really take the summer workout seriously and really work on your craft. You can become a starter when I say overnight, I mean overnight to y'all, but not to us. You can be a starter overnight in that next year. So I'm excited to see, what they do with the current players that's still on the team as far as development's concerned.
Well, thanks for your time, guys. I mean, I posted online before that this is the only Iowa women's post-game show that matters. And you guys are very, very informative, and I really appreciate your time, and going to keep watching. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate the call, sir. And let me just add to that. I think Hannah Stalky's got some serious room for improvement if she's going to fulfill her athletic potential. And with Caitlin gone and with so much of the scoring and leadership gone, I think she needs to take a big-time developmental step in 2024. Lomansky says, Corey, you called Gary lovely. Yes, please. We need context on that. But yes, I did. He says, let me tell Cash on your behalf that Kachine, you're more lovely than Gary and Corey. So thank you for that, Mr. Lomansky.
Thanks, Lomansky.
And D. Rolifson says, any plans to be in Minneapolis, St. Paul next week? I don't have plans to be up there. I do not. So I plan on being here.
Find us here after every game and your trusty post-game show.
Absolutely. I will be here. D. Rolifson adds, thank you for this one. Dream Hawkeye Hangout at Murray's. What does Murray's? I know HH must stand for Hawkeye Hangout. What does Murray's stand for? What is that?
At Murray's.
At Murray's. Corey, Hawkeye Howard, and I think he means Lemansky, even though he wrote
Yeah.
Lugansky. Let's go
Yep.
Hawks. Thank you, D. Appreciate that. And yes, how about this? See, Tim's actually giving me some credit for how I handled the whole Wisconsin debacle with the children in the background. So,
Oh, I gotta watch it. I will have all of my. I will have everything I need to say about that on the next podcast.
all right.
I can't
wait. You want to waste some time listening to giggling?
According to everybody, it is not a waste, Corey. I'm sorry. It's not a waste.
Pain.
I'm
Kelly
only going to
says,
get to the point of the good stuff, though.
Yeah,
I just want to see the mayhem ensue. That's what I want to see.
There was definitely mayhem. Kelly says, did y'all catch Cody McMahon's facial expression? Yes. I don't know if that was on the BTN on the Fox broadcast. Yes. So she was called Cotty. She was called Cotty McMahon by the Iowa PA announcer. Now, everybody makes mistakes. All right. I've done live radio. I do this show and I'm live on the air. You're a PA announcer. You're in front of 16,000 people, almost 16,000 people. So I understand you're going to make mistakes, but I almost think this is unacceptable. A starter for the opposing team in such a big moment, big game, you ought to be able to pronounce the first name Cody. And yes, I know it's an unorthodox spelling, but get it right. I thought that was unfortunate, and I understand why she would have been a little irritated by that. Who's Cotty? Never heard of the name Cotty. Pierre wants to know, Kachine, how do you think this team will go if Gabby keeps playing like she did today?
As far as our defense will take us? Because if Gabby's shooting like that, and it's safe to assume Caitlin's going to do Caitlin things, and etc., then yeah, as far as our defense will take us.
All right, let's go back to our Iowa Smokehouse call-in line. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line? Good, Jacob. How are you?
We can't hear him. Nope. Corey, you know we can't hear him, right?
Hold on a second, caller. We apparently cannot hear you on the other line. So let me see if we can get this fixed. Give me just a second. I'm gonna have to do this on the fly. Let's see.
ESPN makes that mistake way often than they should. I've seen the Iowa State logo for Iowa I don't know how many times, and every time I get more and more irritated. We are not the same, okay? Not even close.
Caller, can you hear Kachine?
Nope.
You cannot hear him. Okay. Let's see if we can get this figured out. Try it. Let's see here. Try it one more time, caller. Can you hear Kachine? Can you say something else to Kachine?
Nope.
Nothing. I'm not hearing any. She's not hearing anything on her end. And if anybody in the live chat is able to hear him, nope. Apparently, we can't hear you. Let me see if I can get this fixed, caller, and we'll try to get you back on the line. Okay, sorry about that, sir. I think our guy that called in like 13 times, I think he messed up the call-in line.
Yeah, clearly.
Oh my goodness! All right, well, I try to fix that side of the Iowa Smokehouse call-in line. It's not Iowa Smokehouse's fault, by the way. Well, we try to get that.
Call through the other line. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, he can call through StreamYard. We could call through StreamYard. Let's get Scott in here. Scott, welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I wanted to mention, Gabby Marshall. I heard she's going to graduate school down in North Carolina. So
I heard that.
So a little fun fact. I didn't hear that until the announcer in the senior day thing. But she is hitting her three-pointers now. And maybe it's the chicken or the egg, where if she's hitting her three-pointers, she's a lot more confident, and it just kind of builds on each other. Or because it seems like the last 2 games she's been really like juiced up. Like, she makes a 3-pointer, and like today when she got fouled, I mean, she's like giving the fans high fives, and I just noticed that she seems more juiced up the last 2 games, and maybe that's causing, or she's now hitting her 3-pointers, because prior when she's on a cold streak, you can really see the disappointment on her face, and sometimes you have to almost force confidence in order to gain confidence. I don't know. I just noticed.
I mean, I think
It was just an observation.
came from. I think the juice, her being juiced up, came from seeing the ball go through the net.
Yeah, it could be, but
and I think anybody would get fired up getting an and one on a pull-up 3.
Yeah. It was exciting to see her that amped up. So, but yeah, going back to that buzzer beater in the first half, I thought it went in. They added points to the scoreboard, but then they took it off when it came back, and I was surprised. And they only showed it one time as a replay. However, while I'm waiting on the line to talk to you, I realized that because when I saw that replay, when the lights on the backboard lit up, the ball was in the was already on the backboard, and so I thought it was good. But then I realized that when there's only 0.3 seconds left on the game clock, and I think the light on the backboard goes by whole seconds, and the game clock is fractional seconds. Does that make sense?
No, it is. But regardless of anything, the clock. I could say this from watching at home, and you're talking about the clock on the bottom, the 0.3 seconds.
Yeah.
That only allows you to tip. You can't do anything else but that.
Yeah.
So as long as it started on time, quote unquote, it should be fine. Am I a leader of the show? Hold on. Oh.
No, nobody panic. Nobody panic here, Kachine.
Okay. So I'm still confused. Like, I really am. Because I watched it and I looked over it and I'm like, okay, pass goes. She literally catches it in air, touches it, and it is off the basket. So if I'm being honest, I think it was probably just a makeup call for the Cody thing that it gave 2 free throws for. Because I can't find a reason why it wouldn't count.
Yeah,
and no, they didn't say anything, so we don't know.
Yeah, okay. And the announcers never really mentioned it, that because they did say they were going to review it, but they didn't really. But after the second half started, they didn't mention it again. I'm like, confused. I'm like, what? We went to halftime up with 50 and came back with only 48. So
I don't know.
But you mentioned earlier about how when Iowa is moving the ball and the offense is flowing, we're very tough to beat, and that is true. But then when we kind of freeze up and we stop passing, that's when we run into trouble. And the 4 losses and the times where the other team really gets back into the game, that's what we do. I mean, it's like we just stop. Is that Iowa losing focus or is that something the defense is adjusting to really kind of stop that flow?
No, it's just us.
That's us.
It's just a lot of people not moving, whether that's laziness, whether that's watching. Because a lot of times you get caught watching.
Yeah, because it seems like when we're up by 15, everything is flowing great. We're draining 3-pointers, and then it just like it stops.
Yeah.
And then the other team, and it's and I'm worried about the tournament because we can't be up by 15 points only to lose it. And today the crowd was into it. We were doing everything we need to, and then suddenly Ohio State, we're within 2 points. You're like, holy crap.
I mean, I knew Ohio State's going to come back. They're not a team that just dies. Even last year when we played Ohio State and we were blowing them out, I was like, keep your foot on it. Like you keep pedal to the metal, like, because I know that they have the capability with their press, with everything to get back in games. So I was very nervous about it. but at the same time, I was happy our offense was flowing.
Oh.
So, I mean, either way.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where every team is going to make a run. How you respond, and we responded by basically making our shots down the. But you were also talking about like mismatches. What would you consider a mismatch for this team? Is it
like
really
on our side, or
what's that?
Like when you say mismatch for us or against us?
For us. Like, who are you? I mean, the logical choice is stay away from South Carolina. But is there any other I should say, would the mismatch be like,
Stanford.
Are you worried about a team that has really tall players? Or
Stanford.
Okay.
I'm worried about people that have really good post play. I don't care if they're tall or not. If they have very good post play, I'm worried.
Okay, yeah. Cameron Brinks is pretty good.
And her counterpart.
And I have to admit, I
don't
haven't really watched
Stanford at all.
I haven't really watched Stanford. Do they have a lot of speed? I don't know how much you watch them.
I mean, I wouldn't say they have a lot of speed. They're really they have two post players. Cameron Brinks, I cannot think of the other kid's name right now, so excuse me for that. But those two are a 1-2 punch. It's their 4 and their 5. Okay. And that's a problem for us. It's going to be a problem welcome back, Corey. It's going to be a problem for us. So anybody that has a really good post play is a bad matchup for us.
Okay. Because I know like Iowa, we're not a tall team. And I know you guys keep talking about like Hannah as like she's a 5 now, but she's really a 4. But the thing is a 4 needs to make 15-foot jump shots. And I don't think Hannah can really do that. So, I mean, I don't think she can really go to a 4, assuming we had a...
Yeah, but you don't have to do that. You can play 2 4s on the block. You can play a 4 and a 5 on the block. You don't have to stretch the court. That's old school. You could make it work, trust. Okay. But I think that's also to Corey's point of her continuing to develop.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. But like, I don't know, because I think like Iowa's, especially Hannah, I mean, yeah, she's not a back to the basket player in the post.
She is now.
Her skill set is, I mean, wasn't she like a track star in high school? And she can run the floor, and I think that's where our competitive advantage is 100%. Just being able to get out and run. Because again, I was watching South Carolina this morning before, or at least the first half before the Iowa game, and they have a lot of tall players, and I know everyone wants to avoid South Carolina for logical reasons, but even on their fast breaks, it's like they didn't seem very fast, and I'm like, we can counter a lot of what they can throw at us simply by making them chase us all over the court. And
I mean, to a degree.
And I know one of the announcers against the Minnesota game, one of the announcers mentioned that, this team just has a motor on them. I mean, I can't even imagine like how fatigued they are after the game, because it's like just run. And, and while it's not always the case, big, tall post players, are not going to be able to run, or they get.
That depends. Stanford can run.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched much.
LSU can run. So regardless of that's why I said there's specific people. Of course, South Carolina 6'8" is 6'8". I don't care how you. They don't have to transition if they just keep making buckets.
Yeah. One thing I like about this Iowa team is, despite not having the size or having that real post player, and I could be wrong, but we lead the Big Ten in rebounding. And we may not have a player like Angel Reese that can grab 20 rebounds a night, but we have like 7 players that average, I think, 5 or 6 rebounds a game. And I think,
but that's a different ballgame.
And I think they can. What's that?
LSU is a different ballgame when it comes to rebounding. Like I like our chances rebounding against, a Stanford. They're not as bully. LSU are just a bunch of dogs on the glass.
Yeah.
That is not easy to box out. I mean, those girls, that's what they do.
Okay.
Now we would have our whole game plan is to keep them off the glass.
Yeah.
They're not great scorers in the half court. So keep them off the glass, crowd the paint. We have a shot at that. But you're going there. Our women are gonna have to go to war if we play LSU on the glass. Period. They're going to war. That's just what it is. You might as well strap on your armor and put on your helmet and get ready to go, because that is what it's going to be like in the paint against them on the board. South Carolina is not as bully on the boards. They got 6'8", right? But she's not a bully. You just got to work hard to get her out. That's a whole different ball game against LSU.
All right, so different. Yeah, okay. So you don't really want to put them all in one group.
No, it's different. There's like different identities.
Yeah.
Right. You've got LSU. They're more in the paint, rebound, bully ball. You got Stanford, who's more finesse. Cameron Brinks isn't looking for a bunch of contact, but she's also very tall. She can shoot the three. They're more skilled.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you've got South Carolina, who really just makes tough plays. That's what they do. They have shooters now, and they got 6'8".
Yep.
So it's just a different kind of matchup.
Yeah, they went out and South Carolina went out and got some 3-point shooters.
Yeah, they did.
But
absolutely.
Would the mismatch be? Would you rather play against a team like LSU, or would you rather play against a skilled team, where we can, because we're more of a skilled team than a fighter, I think. But
I think I'm going LSU.
Thanks for the call, Scott. I'm sorry I had to cut him off because we're getting way behind in the calls. But you have an answer to that.
Oh, we got more calls?
Yes, you unleashed the tidal waves of calls. So, would you rather play? What team would you rather play? What type of stylistically do you think Iowa?
I think you have a better chance at bully ball than you do at finesse.
Okay.
If you could really just lock in, you only have to worry about one thing, right? Like you really just have to worry about boxing them out and being tough. That's it. With a Stanford and a South Carolina, there's so much more in the game plan that you have to worry about. Yeah. I'm not saying it makes it easier, but you could focus on one thing.
All right, let's go back to. I think we've got our caller back on the line that you couldn't hear. Do we have you, caller? Caller, do we have you?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we got you. You're loud and clear, and Kachine can hear you too.
Good.
So sorry to have
good. Yeah.
Go ahead with your question if you have one.
No problem. I was just calling in because I'm happy that Kachine can admit about my mismatch that Corey does not agree with me with, but the question I have is on Iowa's offense for the pick and roll, or why is it that Iowa can't get into any rhythm just a little bit in half court on pick and roll? Because Hannah is athletic and she can stretch out pretty far and turn to the basket, slip the screen and stuff. But why do you think that pick and roll is something that is pretty much non-existent in Iowa?
I think it was at one point. We kind of went away from it. Why? I think because it was being guarded because our shooters weren't shooting. So what I mean by that is it's a lot easier to guard if Gabby Marshall is 0 for whatever, because on the pick and roll, I can go help the roll. Because you can go pass it to her all day long. She's probably going to miss it. Guaranteed that's how she was shooting. However, now that Gabby has caught fire, Kylie has caught a little bit of fire, etc., that should leave the pick and roll a little bit more open than it has in the past. The only issue with that is what Ohio State did today. We set a pick and roll, and they trapped Caitlin. That now leaves Hannah in the middle of the floor having to make a decision, which is something she is not good at yet, right? Is the right way to play the ball screen, if I'm being honest. Now, if you let Hannah get all the way down to the block and then we feed her, yes, that's exactly what we want. So it's a two-part there. But thankfully, with Gabby being able to find her rhythm, it should open up the pick and roll a little bit more.
Now, can that be addressed in time since it hasn't been fluid throughout the season? And the motion offense also can get really stagnant. So do they have enough time to work in both pick and roll, a little bit more plays during the game, and then also mix that in with their motion offense? Do they have enough time to kind of at least get something together on that?
Well, their pick and roll has always been a part of their offense. They just got away from it. So adding it back in is going to be easy because it's not something the girls are like not used to. You know what I mean? Like they're used to it. So I would say just making it more of an emphasis in practice is something that they would have to do. And our motion offense, people just be watching. They just be watching. It's like, you hanging out in the corner and you're like, oh, there's Caitlin Clark. Oh, okay, she's going to set a screen. And then you realize you ain't done nothing but sat in the corner for 30 seconds. Yeah, that's what happens. They just sitting there watching. So, and you could hear Bluter. I heard her today. It was funny. She's like, move the ball, swing the ball. So, like, she's aware of it, that it gets stuck. So it really just needs to become an emphasis. Those are not, both of those things that you mentioned aren't things that we haven't done before. It just needs to be more of an emphasis in practice before Friday.
Okay, that's all he had to say. I guess he hung up. So we covered that. Maybe he didn't like your answer. What was he talking about at the beginning of that call about how something about I don't understand, something about matchups, and
maybe you might have disagreed with him at one point.
Oh, well, that doesn't seem like me to disagree with
Not
somebody.
at all.
Chris, thank you for the super chat, Chris. He says, I don't have anything to say, but I do appreciate the super chat.
Chris, you're awesome. How about that?
Yes, thank you, Chris. Let's see. We've got a couple callers here and still in line. We're going to try to wrap this thing up as soon as possible. Tyler says, it wasn't in a box. It wasn't with a fox. It wasn't here nor there. It wasn't anywhere. If you know, you know.
That
right?
might be the best one yet.
Pierre, how do you think this team? Well, we already covered this. Sorry, Pierre. Covered your question. M. Finn, no, you're wrong again on Addison Public Library. I'm sorry, but that's not
in the kids section.
No, incorrect. Old Chevy Truck says, is there going to be any NIL money to bring in players this year because there was not last year?
Doubt it.
Don't think so. And I don't have any reason to think that there is, but maybe some donor will come up with a big chunk of dough for Lisa to work with. That would be great. And as far as potential transfer portal targets, we'll see who enters. We don't have, there's a lot of really good bigs out there. I mean, I think of the big up at Wisconsin. She's someone that Iowa could use. And that's not a very good program right now. There's a lot of good bigs across this conference and across the country. And, but again, NIL is a factor. Availability is open for playing time. There's no question about it. Lemansky, thank you for the super chat. Anyone else notice Kachine's mojo is very much like Michael Jordan, and Corey, my main man, not so much.
Scottie Pippen.
I don't think listen, here's the deal. You might be able to dribble circles around me on the basketball court, but I don't think I'm ready to take a backseat to you as Scottie Pippen was to Michael Jordan.
See?
I ain't ready to do that, Kachine.
You don't have to, Corey. You are what's What's? Oh no, we never mind. That was a bad. I'm not even gonna say that. Never mind.
Okay. All right.
I was gonna give you the title of the person who put everything together, but you know what happened to him, so we're not gonna go there. The Bulls GM. Yeah, we're not gonna go there. Just kidding. Never mind.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the thoughtful, the kindness there. T Hawkeye, do you think NCAA will give Iowa a favorable seed for TV ratings and money? I would hope not. I would hope that's not the edge that Iowa gets. Do you have any thoughts on that, Kachine?
Yeah, they will. Number one, I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised if three things happen. One, they have us meeting South Carolina again. Two, they have us meeting LSU again. And three, that we are matched up with Juju Watkins and not Juju Watkins, Juju out of USC in a like Elite 8, Sweet 16, whatever you want to call it, scenario. Final Four, one of those. But I would not put them past Caitlin Clark Juju matchup. Just because of the aesthetics of it.
It is Juju Watkins, by the way.
Oh, shoot. Okay, good.
Thank you, T.
When I thought of Watkins, all I could think about was the girl from South Carolina. I was like, wait, is that right?
No, you're right. Let's go back to our Iowa Smokehouse call in line. We've got Barbara.
Oh,
Barbara,
hi.
welcome.
Hi. The first
Barbara.
time can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'm trying to figure out where my camera is on my iPad. I was at the game. Obviously, I still have my little stickers. It's the first time I've ever called in. I'm a pretty regular listener, but I want to say how much.
Barbara, but I met you at the Indy. We
Yeah.
met at Indy.
Yes, I did.
I met Barbara in Indianapolis, Kachine.
Yeah, football.
Nice.
Yeah. And I didn't see you today, but I could tell from your tweet you were kind of near my section, and I was kind of like, oh, where is he? But anyway,
I was thinking, you know what? I thought you were about to say, Barbara, when you started that sentence, when you said, I didn't see you today, but I thought you were going to say I could feel his presence.
Oh, yes, your energy.
Barbara could feel Corey's
that
presence
Carver
at the game.
Hawkeye arena.
You didn't see me again. You didn't see me up on the big screen when they introduced me with the game ball. And
oh yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, Cash, you missed it.
I sure did.
I'm kind of losing my voice.
So did the rest of the world.
She ain't the only one who missed it. Anyways, go ahead, Barbara.
I love the teamwork of this game. I thought it was really good. I feel really bad for Molly. I appreciate everything you guys say. You guys are really good team here. But I have a little trivia for you. I'm a researcher. I mean, I did a lot of research in my life. And I looked up the Jakes from State Farm. The original Jake used to be an employee of State Farm Insurance, and he answered an open call audition to get that role, where he was the one where the wife thought he was, or the husband thought his wife was it? The wife talking to, he said, I'm talking to Jake, what Jake, the jealous one. And then he left the company, and then they hired this other guy. So the original one was named Jake Stone or something. The second guy, the one we all know now, his name is Kevin. Wait, hang on a minute. Kevin, and he's an actor, obviously. Kevin Miles, and he's appeared in some movies even, and other commercials. So,
I think that's great and all. I just don't understand the concept of why.
Everybody knows him. Isn't that what makes you a celebrity?
They know him as the fake name.
What I'm saying is, now that we know Jake is a real person at State Farm, like that, how is that guy, like, why move to an actor who?
Well, he left the company. The original Jake now is a bartender in Normal, Illinois. It said.
All right.
Has a couple of kids, and
great information to know.
I just thought I'd bring that little trivia to the show. All right, I'm not going to hold up the line anymore. It's kind of weird. I can't figure out my iPad camera.
This is the first time. Forgiveness, and Barbara, you'll figure it out for next time.
It probably would have been easier to use my laptop. But anyway, good to see you. Thanks for the show.
Thanks, Barbara.
Go Hawks, right?
Go Hawks. Barbara, one of our loyal viewers and one of our premium members here on the channel. So thank you to Barbara for calling in. And I believe this is our last caller. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame. It's Iowa Smokehouse, our Iowa Smokehouse call-in line. It's James on hold. James, we got you.
I was gonna come in with a joke saying that the reason you got back on was because you used the Iowa City Public Library internet or something like that to get back. That's why you left, because you had to get the Iowa City Public Library or something to come back
Oh,
on.
hey,
But
you know what I was doing, James? I was
I
trying
don't
to
think
fix
that's
the
fair.
call line. I got the call line fixed, and we got our caller, and he was able to get on the phone
No,
line.
I was just I know I was gonna come up with a joke about it though.
He
But
was doing Michael Jordan things back there. He was trying to make sure everything was running. MVP goes to Corey. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but no, it was a good game, and I know obviously this is the future, but I didn't know if you've seen who was there for recruiting wise for the future for Iowa women at least, and I think one of the biggest names that is a legacy is probably Madden Greenway, with her being there obviously and getting the win like that in front of her. And I know there's other recruits too. It's not just Madden Greenway, but what she's done since she's been in 7th grade in Minnesota and the record she's already broken, I think that's somebody that's always on your list once you look into the future too. But
Absolutely. There were a lot of prospects
yeah.
there. And I'm not a guy who's into recruiting so much that I'm trying to find each and every one of them.
I'm not either. I don't really recognize the other two. I just recognize Madden obviously because her dad is who her dad is, you know, and how much legacy he has at Iowa. So
no, it was a great environment, and this is an opportunity. I don't know if I know Fran was there. I saw Fran walk right in front of us and had somebody with him. I don't know if it was a parent of a player, but it was certainly not a recruit. But it's an opportunity. These types of environments and this exposure is also an opportunity for the Iowa men and potentially Iowa football to benefit by getting recruits onto campus and into these athletic events.
do I know how we got the 2 seed, by the way, since I know how we got the 2 seed?
Yes, tell me.
All right,
yes.
so Indiana lost. Who was Indiana's loss in conference? That's not to us or Ohio State.
Illinois.
Illinois.
And we beat Ohio State, who has a better record, and they're the 1 seed. So that's how with the win today, that's how we got it, because they lost to Illinois, and we beat Ohio.
So their losses are bad.
Yeah,
losses.
so we beat Ohio State. So that's how we had the tiebreaker, because I don't think they beat Ohio State at all either.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
But it's gonna be cool to see the 2 seed, and it'll be interesting to see where they put us. Obviously, in the Big Ten, and you hope Molly can. Obviously, it didn't look good, and if it's not good, just obviously unfortunate for her. But hopefully, the rest of the girls can step up. But I don't even know what happened really on the play. It didn't look like she did much, and then she fell and grabbed her knee. And I was like, "That's never good when you grab your knee." So,
yeah, no, we'll see what the MRI says. That's what people in the chat are talking about. So maybe that's. I'm guessing the MRI will confirm whatever is the fear. So hopefully it's not worse, but we'll wait and see.
One thing
we'll know in the next couple of days.
Yeah. One thing Cash was saying was track meets this and that. Like, and I said this in the thing. I don't know if we have enough depth to get into a track meet now with Molly out. What I mean by that is kind of like what she said, and like, really, why are you going to a guard is Kylie, right? Because obviously you have Taylor, but she's hit or miss sometimes. You don't know what you're going to get out of Taylor McCabe, right? So, like, really, you only got Kylie to put in at the guard position. You only really have Addison to put in at the big position. It's like you don't really have that depth to get into a track meet, I feel like, because you don't know what you're going to get from those two either, really. Because they're hit or miss too, so you don't really know what you're going to get from either of those people. So,
the good news is you're starting to see more consistency out of people like Kylie.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. And she played well in the minute after Molly went down. She played well to keep us the lead, you know, to keep us the lead with a lot of steals and playing actively on defense. And that's something you need too. And obviously, so it has to be Sydney that's going to fill in the starting lineup, right?
That's a good question. Depends on how big Iowa wants to go, and evaluating how Kylie's playing. Maybe
could
Kylie.
Could you do it matchup based depending on who you think? Like if they play a bigger team, maybe try to figure out something there, and then you can still because like you said, sometimes the starters don't matter as much as like who plays more minutes or who's in at the end of the game. So it really doesn't matter as much. But sometimes you can start somebody different to try to match it up a little bit, and then go to the bench differently, if that makes sense. Try to slowly slow down maybe at the start, but
I agree. Kachine, anything to add to that?
I mean, it's a possibility. You can't really get a rhythm now. You're going to have a new starting five anyway. So you can't really catch a rhythm now in regards to the starting five. So I don't really think it matters who you put in. But matchups will be key in regards to who stays in.
Yep. But it'll be interesting to see who we play and who we get in the tournament in the next round. And I'm glad we get to bye till Friday. Obviously, it's always important. And obviously, you want to be at the 1, but we'll take the 2. And I think being Ohio State gives you a little bit of confidence too when you get to that point of obviously you don't lose twice to them and then maybe have to play them in the finals when you get to the Big Ten tournament. So winning that game is very important to the fact of you can beat them, you know how to beat them, and you even play well when Molly wasn't there. So that's something that you kind of play well when Molly wasn't there, and you have film kind of what you did when Molly wasn't there. So if you run into that point, you know what to throw at them or what you can throw at them with Molly not there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, James. Appreciate you calling, sir, as always.
Yep, enjoy your night, and hopefully next time you go to Madison, you find a better location to do the final show in. But
thank you, sir. I'll just get a hotel room next time, and I'll have a hotel. I did not have a hotel. That was the problem. So, anyways, RTI Threads player of the game, Caitlin Clark, 35 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, becoming the all-time D1 NCAA D1 all-time scorer. It was nice to see Lynette Woodard there at the game as well. Didn't mention that earlier. Maybe I did, and it's been a 2-hour show. Anyways, also want to thank RTI Threads. Their Iowa baseball site is up and going, iowabaseballswarm.com. Check out their NIL merch for the Iowa baseball team, and you can check out football apparel for select athletes over at rtithreads.com. That's www.rtithreads.com. The Hawkeye men will be back on the court this coming Sunday against Illinois. But first, before that game on Sunday, which is a really big one, the Iowa women will attempt to win yet another Big Ten tournament. They will play on Friday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time against either the 7 or the 10 seed. So we'll see who wins that matchup, who those 2 seeds are. 5:30 p.m. Central Time Friday for the Hawkeyes. So that is set in stone. Iowa will play at 5:30 p.m. Central Time on Big Ten Network. Postgame right here, as always, from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Thanks for – here's the deal, Kachine. You unleashed the tidal wave of calls, so good for you. I'm happy that people – you actually – here's what you did. You made people comfortable. You made people feel welcome, and so that's credit to you. And I'm sure Michael Jordan would have done the same thing. So, rest and always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I will say this real quickly. Shout out to my guy, Larry. Larry, if you're watching, Larry, appreciate the kindness that he extended to me this weekend. And Larry knows what I'm talking about. Larry is a big fan of Iowa women's basketball, has been a season ticket holder for, I can't remember what he said, like 20, 25 years. He remembers you, Kachine, so I'll tell you the story he told me. I sat next to him today at the game, and I'll tell you the story that he told me during the game. So anyways, we'll get to that, but appreciate everybody being here for the last couple of hours. Please drive safe, travel safe if you have to. I will talk to you very soon. And, of course, continue our post-game coverage for the Iowa women heading into the postseason. Kachine, appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. See you Friday.